Love to all the family tuning in across the plain. This is Drop Nation. We appreciate you choosing up. Fair use. We just getting started. Secret Treaty of Verona. We're back in that Behold a Pale Horse. We're back in that Drop Library. Go ahead and dig on it, man. Love to the family. Hey. Love to the family, love to the family, love to the family. If this don't energize you, seeing your family, man, on this indigenous land in Utah, straight up in that frequency. I love y'all, man. I mean, every single one of y'all have added so much to our journey, watching you guys over the past 4 or 5 months plus, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't stop, it only continues. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, this family is planning big things. Our family is planning great steps, so hey, love to the family. Yeah, man, I mean, I can't say enough. Keep supporting, man. Click that link below. Keep supporting. So yeah, Behold a Pale Horse. We're getting into it. The Secret Treaty of Verona. Precedent and positive proof of conspiracy. Ooh, conspiracy. What's really going on? I mean, there's treaties everywhere, so, let's see if we can connect some things. From Congressional Record, Senate 1916. All right. And the American Diplomatic Code, Volume 2, 1778, 1884. Okay. So what's going on in 1778 and 1884? Remember, our brother, Asir, I'm talking about. We were doing the Moab drop. And he was breaking down, this 300-year civil war going on, but it was between one Moor and another group of Moors. And now one group doesn't know who they are. And one group wants more than has been allotted by the Creator. And he said that the so-called Caucasian did not even, really get his foot in terms of the British-French situation until this 1774, I believe he said. Of course, we got the 1776. Whole situation, declaration, independence, whatever. They being independent from these melanated people whooping their ass in Europe. Now you have the American Diplomatic Code of 1778. So I just want to get our timeline together. 1916, Congressional Record, Senate, Mr. Owen. All right, just flow with it. This is William Cooper. Of course, if you know anything about this, he was assassinated in his own front lawn. All right, so all this, these different people in different walks of life, have literally laid their lives to put this information out. All we can do is decide if we're going to live in the illusion or live in reality. And even if that means a shorter period of time or this, at least you got to be real. And could that mean freedom? If you're just worried about this life and your life or this, what's your life as a slave? When you think about your children, you're like, well, what am I going to do? I have children, you know what I'm saying? But what do you do? What do you do? Raise them just to continue to accept the bullshit? Let them be asleep? So, we're deciding reality. We're making a reality decision. And we gotta understand that people have literally lost their lives walking into reality. So, let's flow with it. Mr. Owen, I don't know who this is, but he's somewhere, I guess in Congress, right? Connected to the Congressional Record of Senate. in 1916. I wish to put to record. I wish to put in the record the secret treaty of Verona in November 22nd, 1822, showing what this ancient conflict is between the rule of the few and the rule of the many. I wish to call the attention of the Senate to this treaty because it is this treaty. It is the threat of this treaty, which the basis of the Monroe Doctrine. So we gotta, get on this Monroe Doctrine. So this person is saying, I wish to call the attention of the Senate to this treaty because it is the threat of this treaty, which is the basis of the Monroe Doctrine. It throws a powerful white light upon the conflict between monarchical government and government by the people. The people, which people? The people doesn't represent you, so-called Negro. You're only 3/5 in the Constitution, right? So the people is their people. These are one group of invaders fighting with another group of invaders to get more. The Holy Alliance, Thoth, the Holy Alliance, under the influence of Metternich, the Premier of Austria in 1822, issued this remarkable secret document, the Ame'rican Diplomatic Code of 1778 to 1884. Now we're going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? First, I want to go to some drop that the brother Uno dropped today. And it was, right to this, man. Right to this. I was going to get back into this later. But because, it was so potent and so timely, man. So love to the brother Uno, getting to the root of it all. Man, get that health drop, man. Get all that drop, man. You know what I'm saying? The devastation of the Indies, man. Get all that drop from this great brother. Drop Nation, you already know. And yeah, we're gonna swing right back into this and get into this American Diplomatic Code. And some of the stuff we got from the Protocols of Zion. So if you ain't checked out that drop, those two drops, dealing with the Protocols of Zion and these chapters of the Behold, a Pale Horse. Take your time when you can, man. Go back and check it out so you can get some of that. Because I really go in on the Goyim and the cattle and all these ways that they're talking in the Protocols of Zion. The Protocols of Zion. What's that, 260 something? Let's see if we can get it. At least a piece of it right quick. Okay. Protocols of the wise men, they say, of Zion. Now look at the fine print. Pull it up, read it. It's right there in the library. Click the link below. And while you dig on that, just know you're digging on some of this 432 Hertz and Perfetto piano on a white baby grand piano. It's a little baby grand piano in 432. Never hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? The Protocols of Zion were referred to in the late 1700s. So we're talking the same time, right? 1778 in this American Diplomatic Code. The first copy available to public scrutiny surfaced in the early 1800s. Every aspect of this plan to subjugate the world has since become reality, validating the authenticity of conspiracy. Conspiracy. What is that? Author's note, pay attention, this is an exact reprint of the original text. This has been written intentionally to deceive people. For clear understanding, the word Zion with a Z should be Sion with a S. If you go back into that drop, the Protocols of Zion, both of them, go back to the first one too, you know what I mean? Just scroll all the way back. Because I get on how the Z and S are not the same. These are referring to different Zions, different mountain. This one is going to Mount, what is that, Hermes? Mount Swine. This is all about swine. Their Zion is swine. This Zion is your Jerusalem, your Zion, your peace. There are two different. Remember they gave you a excellent new tune? So this S and Z are not the same. So when you read a lot of times in the King James Version, you see a lot of the S's because they put it in there referring to their hijack mountain. The word Zion should be Sion. Any reference to Jews should be replaced with the word Illuminati. And we're about to get some of that. And the word Goyim should be replaced with the word cattle. So when they say you, when they call you a Goyim, they're just saying cattle. Gentile, no Goyim, nope. Everyone's a cattle in their system. The synagogue of Satan, they say. Revelations 3:9 and 2:9 in their New Test. And this power they want more. What's the connection? What's the alliance? And who are these Jews? Are they the synagogue of Satan? Are they the sons of Lucifer and daughters of Lucifer? What do they say? Would they ever say that they're the son of Lucifer? I said, my man Uno on the beats, would they ever say that they are the sons and daughters of Lucifer? Take it away. Let go. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing today? I'm gonna go into this interview with this pastor, this Caucasian pastor, and this rabbi. Now, I don't know how real this interview is, but a lot of the things that's being said, it sounds real familiar to things that happen surrounding us. So, this is just for you to open your ears and listen to how for me, that I would say, two races of people that don't have the so-called Negro or Afro-American, African-American, so-called best interest, right? The untalked American best interest, all right? So we're gonna go into this interview, and I want you to just listen closely to what's being said in this interview, right? And block out all the hijacking in it that you can hear. This is for your own mind to just assume these things are factual. All right? So, with no further ado, we're going to get right to the video.
And in telling the truth to the masses, but the masses have a hard time believing anything.
Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. And, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300 children a year just here in this country. And we drain their blood and we mix it with the Passover bread. And then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own. And we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets. And the people, they eat it for breakfast. They eat their children for lunch. And, as Jews, we gotta do what we do. The most important thing to remember between you, Pastor Wickstrom, and me, Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein of New York, that we both have two fathers, and so that's why we look at the world in two different ways.
And we know that there's a massive collision that's going to take place between two forces, don't we?
Well, that's what your book...
Now, they're living in the illusion that they both believe they're chosen. This white folk and this white folk, right? But they know that it's beyond skin color. It's about the seed. And one of them just said, well, we have two different fathers, man. Now, they're referring to fathers as creators, as gods. We serve two different gods. Now, one white man, this pastor, claims that they are the people of Shem. They, he's going to say it, white people are the people of Shem. You just got it out there, forbidden histories, that that's how they see it, white or white people Shem, Asian people Japheth, black people Ham. Like, that's their paradigm. You're more educated than them. So, bear with them. So, again, Dr. Hijack, as you know, but you got this group that think they chosen, this group that think they're chosen. Now, where do you fit in? They're just going to brush you off. He's going to ask about black Jews to this guy. He's going to say, man, these smart, who wants these swarthy, stank-ass Negroes living with them, they could never be Jews, But really pay attention to how he's separating daddies. We have two different daddies. Now, where do you fit in this puzzle?
Our book says that we're going to take over the world.
Well, I look at you...
You're doing a pretty good job right now.
Yes, you've done a pretty good job, but there's quite an awakening coming. And my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course...
Yahweh, so he's referring to the creator in his paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Now this pastor, this Christian pastor is calling the creator, that name, alright? We all know from our education that all of them are calling on demons. All of them are calling on demons because they're all against the people. They all know damn well in plain sight what's been done here when they found us here. They all know that Columbus brought a Hebrew interpreter. They all know that these Hebrews, this Paleo-Hebrew, has already been here. They know about the Los Lunas tablets and stone commandments in Los Lunas, New Mexico. They know about all the artifacts. They know about the Grand Canyon. So they're playing a game here, giving you a real big shock factor. I'm going to back it up. Because yes, he did say, we steal all y'all babies. But this war right here, this conversation is between this group of white folk and this group of white folk to us. But they know they're from different tribes. Different daddies. Except one is in a paradigm that he's thinking that, hey, we're the people of Shem. In reality, they all go back to the same daddy. Which is why they're all calling on devils. Which is why they're all sitting over here ignoring the fact that they've invaded people and slaughtered hundreds of millions of people. And he's boasting in the fact that they sell baby meat to McDonald's as hamburgers and sausages. I wasn't going to say shit. But again, you came here for the interruption. Let's back it up.
Around Passover where we steal the children.
Steal the children.
The hijacking it.
Man. Woo!
And in telling the truth to the masses, but you know, the masses have a hard time believing anything.
Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, you know, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. And, you know, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country, and we drain their blood.
They still, he just said 300,000 children a year. Now, he just said it. God. Are they that powerful that this dude can come on radio and say we steal 300,000 children a year and not one cop shows up at anybody's door? All these dudes doing cold cases and cold files and looking at all these missing children cases and they don't know what happened. He just said we steal 300,000 children a year, drain their blood and sell them to McDonald's. Is that not case closed? Oh, because he's speaking as a whole? What are you hearing? What are we listening to?
Centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, you know, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. And, you know, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country. And we drain their blood and we mix it with a Passover bread. And then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own. And we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets.
The slaughterhouses that they own. Get it? Don't you get how the mob work? Don't you get how the mob work? They own the slaughterhouses, yo. Wouldn't you own the slaughterhouses so you can dump the bodies? Why are they finding human meat in vegetarian patties? Man, we gotta, look. Look, man, I know how good mama can cook that chicken or you know, can, you know, wife, you can do this and do that with all these different meats. And I know in theory this shit is dope. Take this cow. Alright, you know, I get it. We gotta get back to the indigenous truth and get in our right minds. And your right mind tells you that you is a slave, Negro. You don't control the slaughterhouses, Negro. You have no idea what's in your food, Negro. And you're trusting your invader with your life. Wakey, wakey. Eggs and human bakey. He just admitted to kidnapping, murdering, drinking the blood, putting it in their Passover, and selling it to McDonald's, man.
Brainwash them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, you know, in the meantime, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. And, you know, I know you know because I've heard it on your show before. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country. And we drain their blood and we mix it with a Passover bread. And then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own. And we grind up all the bodies in the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets. And the people, they eat it for breakfast. They eat their children for lunch. And, you know, as Jews, you know, we gotta do what we do. The most important thing to remember between you, Pastor Wickstrom, and me, Rabbi A.B. Finkelstein of New York, that we both have two fathers, and so that's why we look at the world in two different ways.
Is this the synagogue of Satan? Are they the sons of Lucifer? Oh, he has many names. What do they say? Listen up.
And we know that there's a massive collision that's going to take place between two forces, don't we?
Well, that's what your book says. Our book says that we're going to take over the world.
Well, I look at you...
You're doing a pretty good job right now.
Yes, you've done a pretty good job, but you know there's quite an awakening coming. And my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course, your father is talked about by my father in John 8:44, stating that your father was Satan and that you're the descendant of Cain, who was the first murderer. And you know that's true because you teach it in your synagogue.
Well, that's true, but it's not for you Goyim to know. But right now it's too late. It's over.
Goyim. Cattle. And did he just say, yeah, that's true? Goyim. Cattle. And did he just say, yeah, that's true?
But you know there's quite an awakening coming. And my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course your father is talked about by my father in John 8:44, stating that your father was Satan and that you're the descendant of Cain, who was the first murderer. And you know that's true because you teach it in your synagogue.
Well, that's true, but it's not.
That's true. Any questions? Drain the blood. Put the meat in their slaughter factories. Yeah, that's true.
Coming. And my father, who's not your father, my father Yahweh, who isn't your father, of course your father is talked about by my father.
They have the same father.
In John 8:44, stating that your father was Satan and that you're the descendant of Cain, who was the first murderer. And you know that's true because you teach it in your synagogue.
Well, that's true, but it's not for you Goyim to know. But right now it's too late. It's over for you white race. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is.
It's over for you white race. All right, well, they can play these war games, this puppet show on the table. But underneath, they both have the same interest in conquering the indigenous people of the earth, or else they cannot survive. Once the invader invades you, they must continue to invade you. You will remain a prisoner of war in perpetual servitude perpetually. And they both have vested mutual interest in that plan. Don't get it twisted.
You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? You don't get a lot of followers, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people. And
they believe we're the chosen people, not we are. If he says we're the chosen people, which he might slip up and say that later, he just admitted to being the son of Satan. So if you're chosen, you're only chosen by this Satan or this Lucifer or this energy, this Apollo, this Apollyon, this Zeus, this Thoth.
So that's why we can do.
I mean, don't you get it now? Why they would be hand in hand with this Morocco when it came down to suppressing you? It's all fucking Thoth, man. Thoth is masterful, man. Black and white and black and white. Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it because the white men are cowards, and we go to the synagogue all the time and have some Menasseh and dance the Hava Nagila.
You know, it's interesting. I've told people for years and years you Jews are hiding anything. You're coming right out on television, in the newspapers, on the radio, and you're telling the people exactly what you're going to do before you do it, and they're brain dead.
Well, we did a good job with the public school system.
Wow.
We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy.
Any questions? So-called Negro, you feel bad, don't you? You're emotionally attached to the system. To Massa on this plantation you own by birth, right? You feel bad. Oh, they're not in public school. Or, I have to have them in this. Man, the indigenous truth is you never needed anyone else to raise or teach your children at all. And like, rest in peace to the king, to the brother, CB, Sabi, with the electric food diet. You know what I'm saying? What did he say? You know, I'm sure I'm going to say this really, really wrong. But something like a gorilla doesn't send his children, gorilla children, to be raised or taught by a polar bear. A gorilla has his children being taught and raised by gorillas. A polar bear can't teach a gorilla what to eat. Oh, but, you know, they're animals, and, you know, now they have two separate diets. Matter of fact, a grizzly bear and a polar bear have two separate diets. And even a grizzly bear wouldn't have a polar bear teach his children to be grizzly bears. A polar bear can't teach a grizzly bear to be a grizzly bear. But you think it's okay, because we're all human. If a bear wouldn't let another bear teach his children to be this type of bear, if two birds don't eat the same thing or have the same diet, is what the Dr. CB was talking about, then you need to eat according to your species and habitat, not just this human thing. We should all eat the same shit because your acidic diet is whooping your ass, and some people can take more acid than you. Some people have Neanderthal that breaks down that acid, man. Now they're playing the white game. Oh, you white man. Oh, you Jew. Oh, you white man. He ain't white and he ain't no Jew. Look up the definition of white and see who's calling themselves white. Are they white? Look up the definition of this Israelite and see who's claiming to be this Israelite. Or just a Jew. I'm not quite the people, but I'm ish. I'm Jew-ish. I'm tallish and blackish and coolish and smart-ish. I'm ish. So what's the real spill?
Well, we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things.
Oh, nah, Negro. You want your child in public school.
We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things. But we send your kids to the public school. We even have you tax yourself from your property so that you never own your property. And
So you never even own your property. You're paying debt and mortgage. You never will know. You'll never own it. Oh, I own my house, but I don't own the land it's on. Asinine. You're backwards pimping.
if you don't make your property tax, we're going to take your property. You can bet on that. And we have you put your kid in a 12-year babysitting is about all it does, because you don't learn anything. And then by that time, the kids, they get to be teenagers, and then we give them the music. Not that we really want to call it music, because, oy vey, that's not music. But they listen to that, and then they want to do what they want to do, and so we sell them drugs, and we make a lot of money off your children. Your children from cradle to grave, all we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle, mazel tov.
You know, it's interesting. Yes, I know what you call us, but you know, you may call me Goyim, but I can call you devil, but you know I'm going to be calling you a good name because that's what you are.
Wow.
Well, that's true.
Oh, well, that's true. I'm a devil. Is he lying? Is he looking at you lying? See, the devil, this motherfucker's so crafty that he tells you a lot of truth. That's why we say get the babies out the bathwater. Some people say, well, why are you reading that book? Why are you reading the OSB? Why are you doing it? Man, if you don't get it by now, get with it or get left on, man. The devil always tells the fucking truth. The devil always mixes this truth in and leavens it and mixes it with his lie. So he's lying that has anything to do with Jerusalem or Jerusalem, Yasharah, the nation, the 12 tribes. They got nothing to do with it, or else he'd be calling himself an Israelite, proudly rocking it, man. No, I'm Jewish, but I rule the world. Not Zion, Sion. So you'll lie about that, but then tell you the truth. And then admit to the truth.
We make a lot of money off your children. Your children from cradle to grave. All we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle. Mazel tov.
You know, it's interesting. Yes, I know what you call us, but you know, you may call me Goyim, but I can call you devil, but you know I'm going to be calling you a good name because that's what you are.
Well, that's true.
Now, you see, Rabbi Finkelstein, in your synagogue out there in New York, do you have a lot of infighting with the other Jews, the Orthodox Jews and the other Jews? I mean, is there a lot of infighting for the money out there in New York? I've heard that there's a big inner war going on now with Jewry.
Well, we fight a little bit and we argue a little bit. Of course, that's the two most important things we do is complain and get the guilt. And so what we do, we're not really fighting among ourselves because we're both going to make a lot of money. It's just who's going to make a little more on this deal and who's going to make a little more on that deal. The bottom line, though, is we have the Goyim. The Goyim does all the work. The Goyim makes all the stuff. He sells it to us for pennies. We're the wholesalers. We're the middlemen. We mark it way up and sell it to the other Goyim on the...
I mean, he's telling you the freaking truth. I'm sorry, man. Sorry, man. Sometimes the shit's just gonna cut you. I can't sugarcoat this. I ain't no prophet. I ain't no saint. I ain't no preacher. I'm a goon in Inglewood, giving you some drop, sharing drop with you. I am your brother. I'm heavily flawed. So with you, I can perfect myself. You know what I'm saying? With each other, we can perfect our nation. But you're going to have to open your ears, man. Open your ear bones right quick, man.
That's the two most important things we do is complain and get the guilt. And so what we do, we're not really fighting among ourselves because we're both going to make a lot of money. It's just who's going to make a little more on this deal and who's going to make a little more on that deal. The bottom line, though, is we have the Goyim. The Goyim does all the work. The Goyim makes all the stuff. He sells it to us for pennies. We're the wholesalers. We're the middlemen. We mark it way up and sell it to the other Goyim on the retail side. There's an old saying in Yiddish that the reason that God made Gentiles is because somebody has to pay retail. It's not going to be the Jew for sure. The Jew doesn't pay retail. It's the Goyim that pays retail. We buy wholesale.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that. But I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzvah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice on Passover.
Well, there was a Goyim that wrote a book about it back in the 30s. I forget his name at the moment. But anyway, he wrote the book. People didn't buy the book. People don't want to listen. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years, since down to Adam's time. We take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues, where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that, and then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular thing, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the Goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it.
No.
So that's your problem.
That's your freaking problem. I literally had my hand over my mouth, so I just had to. I wanted to get that part. I wanted him just to get that out. Drain the blood. That's a part of their kosher ritual anyway. So all this time you're watching Seinfeld, you hear about kosher, kosher, kosher. What is the kosher? Oh, what's kosher? Hey, Jew man, what's kosher?
Which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogues, where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that.
Wow. Drain the blood, watch them die there, just like we do the kosher butchering. But we're not cannibals. We sell it to the slaughterhouses, and they put it in sausages and hamburgers.
And then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemies. And the bodies, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make some shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular thing, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the Goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it.
Do you believe it? Or you think this is like, oh, this is a hoax? Even when we tell you outwardly, you just, all somebody has to do is say hoax. But it makes so much sense when you dig on the ancestry, the building blocks. He said we've been doing this since the days of Adam. He just admitted before the being of the bloodline of Cain. The son of Satan, the bloodline of Cain, the first murderer. So if this is the bloodline of Cain, the first murderer, and if this particular bloodline, let's say, turned leprous, and could that leprosy be the mark?
So that's your problem.
You know, I've got a question, and I yes, it is a problem. But you see, I've always wondered, how did you Jews ever get control of the i.e. Christian churches in this country? It's always baffled me to a varying degree, Rabbi Finkelstein. You know, you have your synagogue out there in New York on the East Coast, but I'm wondering, how did you ever totally get control of these Christian churches who at one time told their congregations to stay away from you Jews? How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer, the number one thing of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of you Goyim, obviously would be control
these Christian churches who at one time told their congregations to stay away from you Jews. How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer,
told their congregations to stay away from you Jews. How did that happen?
well, you know, our father Lucifer, the number one.
Away from you Jews. How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Any questions? Is this the synagogue of Satan?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Is this the synagogue of Satan?
Jews. How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Any questions?
The number one thing of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of Ugoyim, obviously, would be the churches. So we attacked them first, and we attacked them most.
Black
And
churches.
we infiltrated the Catholic Church right from the very beginning. Why do you think the Pope and all the cardinals and the bishops wear a yarmulke? The white race never figures this out. And so then we took all your books that had all your scriptures in there, and we burned them. And then we wrote them in Latin so that you couldn't understand them. But we understood Latin because we're Jews and we're smart and we're educated. But you, Goyim out there, you never teach yourself. You don't self-teach. You're always looking for somebody else to do it for you. So you wind up being schleppers all your life. And so anyway, 1,000 years later, when a bunch of the white race started to wake up in Europe, and they started to leave the Catholic Church, it was a terrible time because we weren't making as many shekels as we used to. So we had to put a stop to it. So the kings that we had in our hip pocket, just like the politicians of Washington, D.C. today, we paid them off to get you declared heretics so that they would crucify
Stop.
yourself. You don't self-teach.
Who is he talking about? I mean, I get it. He's saying a white man, and I'm against you, white man. You don't self-teach. All right. But who's he really talking about? He said, I took your books, I infiltrated your churches. We rewrote all this stuff in Latin. Who is he really talking about? Who are they really talking about when he says Goyim? Look, the person that steals your identity, then admits my father Lucifer, talks about the Catholic situation, how they're wearing yarmulkes. I mean, very interesting that the Pope is wearing a yarmulke. Why is the Pope wearing that hat? These traditions just came out of nowhere. My father, who? Listen very closely, y'all. Real spill. Love to uno.
Well, you know, our father Lucifer, the number one thing of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of Ugoyim, obviously, would be the churches.
So they sent their missionaries to your land, Negro.
So we attacked them first, and we attacked them most. And we infiltrated the Catholic Church right from the very beginning. Why?
And who follows the Catholic Church? The black churches. And if they get the Catholic Church, they get the black churches, Negro.
Do you think the Pope and all the cardinals and the bishops wear a yarmulke?
Bang.
The white race never figures this out.
The black race, the so-called black Negro, never figured this out.
And so then we took all your books that had all your scriptures in there.
Then we took all your Negro books with all your Negro scriptures. They burnt down the Library of Alexandria. They burnt down books. What do they do every year? Have an annual book burial, burying books. If it contains the Creator's name, they bury it. Why? Why? Because they have a father, and their father is...
That happened.
Well, you know, our father Lucifer, one thing, of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of Ugoyim, obviously would be the churches. So we attacked them first, and we attacked them most. And we infiltrated the Catholic Church right from the very beginning. Why do you think the Pope and all the cardinals and the bishops wear a yarmulke? The white race never figures this out. And so then we took all your books that had all your scriptures in there, and we burned them. And then we wrote them in Latin.
So why would you need to burn the books if there wasn't truth in them? And when these so-called atheists, melanated brothers, say, hey, how dare y'all believe in the creator of your sacred trees? How dare you even consider that your sacred trees were intelligently designed and created by a creator? Your silicon crystal trees before they were cut down when mountains were trees? We say, well, why would they burn the fucking books? If these books help them to enslave us, brother. No, they remixed them and republished them and put them in Latin and then put them in English and Spanish and redistributed the cocoa. But what was the raw? You're the raw, the indigenous truth. The reality. Let's make it simple. I know we like big fancy words. We're talking about real. Everyone say, what's real? Is real? Is real? What's real? What's reality? What's the matrix? And who designed it?
That you couldn't understand them, but we understood Latin because we're Jews and we're smart and we're educated.
Okay.
But you, Goyim out there, you never teach yourself. You don't self.
You Negroes don't teach yourself. You don't self-teach.
You're always looking for somebody else to do it for you.
Oh, you're lazy. Why? Because we invaded and slaughtered all of your teachers and your chiefs and your priests, and every time you built yourself up, we cut you down. Even now, we're afraid to build because of some inherent fear that even our parents instill in us about you. What are we afraid of? He says, oh, everyone fears us. Everyone fears our power. Everyone fears death. What happens when you don't?
So you wind up being schleppers all your life. And so anyway, 1,000 years later, when a bunch of the white race started to wake up in Europe, and they started to leave the Catholic Church, it was a terrible time because we weren't making as many shekels as we used to. So we had to put a stop to it.
So this so-called white race woke up in Europe, had a what? Renaissance? I don't know. Came over, said, we're going to separate from the queen. He says, oh man, he's separating from the church. We're not making as much money, except that they were financing the real slave trade, which was happening from right here in South America and Mexico and the islands here, sending us from here to Europe to so-called Africa. From here, this was the melting pot. We're going to get back into that other book by Jack Forbes, where he's breaking down how it's 4 times easier following the Gulf Stream, coming from the Americas to reach Africa and Europe. It's 4 times easier and takes 4 times less time. 4 times less sweat. If it's easier to leave here and go there, that means we've been exploring there before they were exploring here. Which means that yes, Atlantis is here and Egypt is here. And we were protected here. Even with all that hijack, there's a remnant.
So the kings that we had in our hip pocket, just like the politicians at Washington, D.C. today, we paid them off to get you declared heretics so that they would crucify you and kill you. But there was too many of you, and the West was opening up, where the Jews opened up New York and Rio, and everybody
just opened up. Who opened it up? Jewish, Moorish Columbus. With his Hebrew interpreter. I'm coming to America to conquer the holy city and Mount Zion and the Biblioteca de Colombina Sevilla. Who's opening it up? Who's opening the partition, tearing it down? Oh man, it's a new world. Brand spanking new. To this perspective. Now it's opened up, and who do they say financed it? Oh, you see the Cohens and all these names that so-called finance these particular boats, right? Except we're realizing the real orientation. And that, in reality, they found you here and enslaved you here and put you in the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands, but not the hundreds of millions from Africa here, but possibly the hundreds of thousands from here going there. From here going there. And yeah, there was some going back and forth. I mean, we was already in Europe. They were conquering us in Europe, in Asia, sending us here. All these things were going on. They were playing that little shell game. Let's take them from here and put them here. Let's take them here and put them here. They'll never know where they're from. Oh, they're so wily, aren't they? That thought frequency.
And so we had to come up with a plan B. And plan B, we formed the Jesuits. It was a nice boy, Ignatius Loyola, that he started the Jesuits. And so they decided to infiltrate all the Protestant churches out there. And as always, us Jews work our way to the top. And then we take over the money line, the shekel line, the most important line, the lifeline, the gold. And so we took that over. And so slowly but surely we teach the teachings.
Most importantly, the gold. And who has more gold than you, so-called Negro? Again, if you're walking down the street, I smack you in the back of the head and take your wallet. And then, you know what I'm saying, let's say it was some dope, indigenous, dope type of wallet that's been in your family for generations. And you know what I'm saying, you know, describe to your child, man, I wish I had this wallet, man, this is what it looked like. One day your child grow up and he sees that same wallet in some, you know, white dude's pocket. And he says, man, that's my daddy's wallet. And he says, yeah, man, I don't know, my daddy gave it to me. Now, what's reality? Whether he gets it in his brain cell or not, in his oblongata, whether he gets the indigenous drop of that wallet or not, what's reality? Whose wallet is it? By birthright, not the shell game. Because I take your wallet, does it make it mine? Because you take my land and my gold, does it make it yours? But they don't care. They just murder a bunch of babies, drain their blood, pass over, do their thing. My father Lucifer, he says, they don't care about jacking you. Not when they're taking your babies.
Change them a little bit to where it's all run by the Catholic Church again, the Mother Church. It's your mother, but the Father Church is the synagogues in Israel.
Boom. Mother Church, Vatican. Father, synagogues in Israel. Synagogue of Synagogue of
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Our Father.
That happened.
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Let go.
All run by the Catholic Church again, the Mother Church. It's your mother, but the Father Church is the synagogues in Israel and in the synagogues in New York.
New York, New Babylon. So it's the same damn hijack, same energy, Same thing. They set up their Israel in New York. Now, Prince Uriel Bey said, New York is Jerusalem. Now, which Jerusalem? Apparently, it's their Jerusalem. They're setting up their synagogues in New York. What's the indigenous drop? If I take your wallet, does it make it mine? They're in it for the gold. What is the indigenous drop?
In Israel and in the synagogues in New York.
You know, this is most interesting. There was a report just recently, a couple months ago here, Rabbi Finkelstein, of Ethiopic Jews in Israelite. These are black Jews. And the Jews in Israelite didn't want them there. And the Ethiopian, the black Jew, said, oh, no, we're Jews. We belong here, too. How does...
You see how sad this is, man? People trying to squeeze into a place that even Horace Butler has a chapter 5 in his book, says Jerusalem is missing. Breaking down Margaret Steiger, you know, this archaeologist, showing that there is nothing there at all to substantiate any claim that any Jerusalem ever existed there. So, where? Columbus would tell you, as he wrote in the Biblioteca de Colombina, the Book of Prophesies, Prophesies, Holy City, America. How many times do we keep getting the same drop? Promised Land, America. Moses, Aztec, migration, America. Days of Peleg, earth divided, Atlantis sunk. Migrations back to their valleys and mountains, say the Quiche people, Anasazi people, their mountains, their valleys, their promised land.
Does this all fit in? Well, how are these black Jews and the Jews over in Israel didn't want them? Was they kind of like a disgrace or what?
Well, who wants a bunch of Schwarzes in your land?
Who wants a bunch of Schwarzes in your land? Who wants a bunch of Schwarzes? Schwarzes? Who wants Schwarzes in your land? Schwarzes. Come on, man. Come on, man. Schwarzes. Swarthy, black. Who wants a bunch of blacks? Swarthy. They called the Germans Swarthy. Swarthy Spaniards, dark. You were invaded with Spaniards, they were dark. Portuguese, dark. Swarthy, Jews. Jews expelled out of Spain. Renaissance, New World. Whose rebirth? Anyone against the Swarthy? Who wants a bunch of Swarth? Now, he didn't go into, he said they can't be Jews. No, they're Israel. They're Israelites. So-called, right? They are the tribes found here, the American copper-colored race found here in the promised land. And you just got to the Americas. Now these Ethiopians are okay. They just want to get down with the system of Sion. They want to get down with the system because they got down with the system. And the only people that didn't don't know who they are today.
You don't want the Schwarzes in there. There are some rabbis that went down to Ethiopia and they said, oh, we'd like to be Jews too. We laughed, but we said, okay, pay us a few dollars and we'll teach you how to be a Jew. So there was a few rabbis that made some...
So he's trying to paint a picture that he converted them. That they converted them. So what about King Bulan? What about the Ashkenazi? Sons of Gomer? Oh, he says sons of... He says sons of...
Well, you know, our father Lucifer...
Our father Lucifer. Let go.
Said, oh, we'd like to be Jews too. We laughed, but we said, okay, pay us a few dollars and we'll teach you how to be a Jew.
We'll convert them
to
converts.
There was a few rabbis that made some money there in Ethiopia, but every Jew knows that a Schwarzer can never be a Jew, and we don't want them dirtying up the neighborhood.
Woo! We don't want these sons of Jacob. Yahweh, Yahweh. We don't want them dirtying up Lucifer's neighborhood.
Over in Israel, we give them neighborhoods here in America. We give them white women to mate with, to destroy both races.
We give them neighborhoods in America. So he's specifically talking about the Ethiopians. Right? Now you have little Ethiopia, and where is it? If you in LA, you know it's right near Wilshire, and all that is owned by the Jews. Synogogue of Satan. Sons of Lucifer. I'm not saying it, he's saying it. He's saying it. Open your ears, so-called Negro. This is for you. This reality is for you. Oh, we don't want these Schwarzes in our neighborhood. But in respects to their crises of these Africans coming into Israel there, get out of our neighborhood. This is Lucifer's town. We established this in 1947. At the same time, this Hitler's making deals and he's saying, yo, we are Nazis and we're against the Ashkenazis, but we are Ashkenazis, which is why we're Nazis. And anyone that is out of their minds claiming to be anything else but Ashkenazi, as Nazis, we have a problem with them because we are all Ashkenazis, Nazis. And they are claiming to be dark people. They're claiming to be Negros. They're claiming to be Hebrews. They're claiming to be Israel. And we have a problem because what's your deal, Hitler is saying? What's wrong with being Nazis? What's wrong with being Ashkenazis? But they have their own plan, their own thing. And Hitler said, man, you better stop these people. You better cut this shit out. So you even got that drop. Go back and check it out, the Melanated Nazi, where he's recruiting even melanated people, showing that whatever the issue is, it ain't really with Hebrews. It's with this energy here, these sons of our Father.
Away from you Jews. How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Our Father Lucifer. Let go.
And Gazai, Gazelle, Gavel, Gahaya. What can I say?
Well, that's, in other words, it's like Elizabeth Taylor now. She was a white woman, and yet she said she took on the ways of Jewry. How does this fit in?
Well, she married a nice little Jewish boy named Eddie Fisher, and they had a daughter named Carrie Fisher, and so she donates a lot of money to the synagogue. She's a good goyim shiksa, and she thinks she's Jewish. She can think what she wants. Hopefully that she'll give a lot of money to our synagogue when she dies, which should be soon because she doesn't look like she's in too good a health.
Rabbi Finkelstein, we're coming down on time here, but I wanted to get into this because, you know, you and I are at war. The war actually is between the white race, the children of Seth, against the children of Cain, of which you are. And we...
Again, he's going to admit he's a child of Cain, the first murderer, so it's the seed of Cain. So is he even a real Ashkenazi? Is that what Hitler had an issue with? Y'all ain't even Ashkenazis. Is that the truth? What's the drop? But he's going to get down to it right here. Child of Cain. He just called himself a child of Seth. All right. Okay. You know they like to write themselves in our history. You know, you got to appear. Are you Moab? Are you Ishmael? Are you a child of Abraham? Dark, black Abraham, huh? But then these other dark people are just black. African Americans. You see, it's an insane game, man. It's an asinine game. And we're trying to, you know, make it, you know, entertaining enough for us to pay attention, but real enough for us to give a fuck, if you know what I mean. And I'm just trying to just dig on this with you, man. Love again to get to the root of it all. If you want to see this straight out, go check it out there, man. He just drops 18 minutes. He's out. So you can get the full cut, the raw. But man, I can't, you know, I'm, you know, it's 4 o'clock. For some reason, I've been doing these drops at 4 in the morning, man. So, you know, love your boy, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just do it when the house is quiet, if you know what I mean. If you got children, you know what I'm talking about. But yo, father, son, son of Canaan, son of Cain.
We know that it's been written in the Aramaic and in all the ancient texts, you know this as well as I, that only one race is going to survive on the face of this earth.
So he's repping for the white race. He's repping for this Jewish race. The blacks he brought up with Ethiopia. Who wants these swarthy people living? Who wants these dirty Negroes living around you? He says, yeah, okay. Yeah, but I'm still going to take 300,000 children a year, drain their blood, and feed them to McDonald's. Or let you eat them from fast food restaurants.
And you know it's the white race. What?
One more time. In case you thought this pastor gave a shit about you, he's only repping for this KKK version of reality.
Are at war. The war actually is between the white race, the children of Seth, against the children of Cain, of which you are. And we know that it's been written in the Aramaic and in all the ancient texts, you know this as well as I, that only one race is going to survive on the face of this earth, and you know it's the white race.
The one race that can't even bear the sun is going to survive out of everybody, according to something he's reading. This is madness.
Well, that's what your book says. Our book, the Talmud, says we're going to rule and we're going to have a world of our own and we're going to go out into space.
Out into space, man. Into the celestial, man. Underneath the barrier with your father, Lucifer. That is madness. You've seen one madness against another madness. And how many times do we see this madness versus madness? And what's order? What's the pure water? What's the indigenous truth?
And we're going to have a war with your father, and we're going to win this time.
Well, that's going to be most interesting, but until then, the masses continue to awaken in many aspects in this country and in white Europe. You know, all of Rothschild's banks control
white Europe. I mean, why is it, man, the white race and white Europe? Wow, man. I mean, I'm so grateful that the brother dropped this, man. I think we all needed to be slapped in the face with this. ASAP. You know, just like the Constitution don't contain you and their forefathers and founding fathers they ain't talking about you, man. And I'm not even talking about just black. I'm talking about specifically your seed. They're not talking about your tribe. The original ones that did the Constitution were already excluding your tribe. They just said, cool, we'll let go. Let's exclude the shit out of these people to the point where they can't even in their right mind be included. They've been excluded for so long. They say, Drop, why you go so hard? I say, because we've been excluded for so long. Man, who got time to sleep when we've been excluded for so long? We ain't never been included, you know what I'm saying, in any generational memory. We don't have a memory of being included in the overall picture, which means what? They've all made a confederacy against you, Psalms 83.
Well, the white nations and have perverted the nations. Well, it amazes me how you penetrated into the federal agencies like the FBI and the National Security Agency and how you have all these blockers and protectors in that.
It's very easy to take over a government when you're a bank, because the government has to borrow money from the bank, and once they borrow money, as it says even in your books, as it says in ours, he who borrows is slave to the lender.
Bang.
So this government here in America is slave to the Federal Reserve System, which is Rothschild's bank, plus a few of us other Jews who make a few shekels off of it. And the politicians that we put in charge, they all take bribes. They're all a bunch of perverts. They like to drink, and they like to take the drugs, and they like to do the Fagala thing with the Fagalers. So that's what they do, and it's very easy to control the government. The hardest thing was penetrating the churches, because there used to be a few good preachers in there, but over time, as us Jews, we're so smart. We're the chosen people.
We're the chosen people. That train is never late. But if he's chosen, then he must be chosen by his father.
Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
His father Lucifer.
Penetrating the churches, because there used to be a few good preachers in there, but over time, as us Jews, we're so smart. We're the chosen people.
Chosen by who? The Creator? Or your father Lucifer?
We always infiltrate and take over everything and everything.
And if you always infiltrate and take over everything, that means you're a parasite. You're a virus. Only a virus needs to infiltrate and take over things. Nature has lots. Nature has order. Why would Morocco want it all? Because they're out of order. They're parasitic. They can't have the land given by the Creator. They want more. You can't be satisfied with your little, whatever, unnatural territory. You want more. So the people that want more make a confederacy against those that naturally have it all by birthright. And where do you see these people? They're being exploited by these people. And the boule that want more. You see them all over your television. They're entertaining you all the time. They're inventing things. They're the true alchemy. They're exploited because they naturally have more. And even when they're asleep, they still are the center of attention. Maybe it's in mockery. Maybe it's in amazement. But they're still the center of attention. Even when they're asleep. Imagine when they're awake.
Thing that there is out there today, we own and we control.
I'd like to ask you this question before we get off the air. We've got about 2 minutes. A point-blank question. Is communism Jewish?
Of course. Karl Marx, Moses Mordecai Levy, who had a couple of grandfathers that were Jewish. He's the one who created it, along with Engels. He was another nice Jewish boy. And we implemented it and got that started in Russia. It was a great bill of goods to sell the masses. We tell them, hey, you're here at the bottom. How would you like to be equal? Everybody be equal. They thought they were going to come up, but we brought the rich ones down to their level, and we took all the money, and we run it, and they're all a bunch of schleppers, and we make the shekels, and we're the masters.
We make the shekels. We make the money. We print it. The Federal Reserve is owned by the Rockefeller, owned by them. And again, if you're borrowing money from them, then you are their slave. But you were their slave at hello when your, guardian signed over your birth certificate. Now they trade in these markets with your life, with those numbers on your social security number card, and your birth certificate is being traded and hedged and, hedges and all that, futures and options, all that stuff. What's the indigenous drop? If they're trading you for shekels, then who are you? Who are you?
And we implemented it and got that started in Russia. It was a great bill of goods to sell the masses. We tell them, hey, you're here at the bottom. How would you like to be equal? Everybody.
Why would you want to be equal when you have it all? Who are you? so-called Negro, you have it all. You didn't have it all. You have it all. By birth, it will always be yours. It was yours then. It is yours now. Now they're selling you on this game. And then it was called communism. And they said, hey, come over here. Come be equal to us. You know, it isn't until you tell these people who you are that suddenly they want equality with you. Before that, they don't give a dog shit about you. They don't give a shit. If they had a whole bag of shit, they wouldn't give you one because they don't give a shit. Now they want equality when you say, actually, I am the energy of the Creator. I am that which he is claiming to be chosen by the Creator, not Lucifer. I am that I am. Then they say, well, I want to be equal to you. And you say, well, I'm me. And they say, reverse racism. How dare you think you're better than me? I say, if we weren't better, there would be no need for a Psalm 83. If we didn't have more, there would not be a need for a Moor takeover, a Moor colony. Everything is not created equal, but we all have an equal opportunity to choose up. Every grain is not equal. Every metal is not equal. Every animal is not equal. No, we are not equal. No, we are not equal, nor do we require equality. Fuck that. We want it all. We want ours by birth. We get it. That's a problem with you. So you're going to have to see the Creator frequency. You're going to have to see it to believe it. Do you believe in the stars? Or do you believe in reality? All right. Now, as he's dropping that drop, it got me thinking, right quick of the, I don't even know if I still got it up here in the bookmarks. The Hitler situation, man. Yeah. I know I had it up, the letter. It was a Hitler letter. You know what I'm talking about. Last letter. Let's see if we can get this. Jewelry. Come on, let's go, videos. What are they trying to be? Let's check this out. Based off of what we just heard. Again, let uno for that, man. I was about to, you know what I mean? I had to get that, man.
Now, we have another archaeology book by Time Life magazine. And from this particular archaeology book...
Nah, I don't know if this is it. Okay, this is taking me through. Oh, man. All right. Man. Yeah, I thought I had it queued up, man. But you know what I am talking about. That little letter. That letter that he dropped. Right, okay. All right. Man, you know how I am. I gotta get this. All right. Do this in YouTube. Hitler, let's see, last letter. Jewelry. This is 2 minutes. It might be right. It might be in the biz. Alright. Hitler said even in his death he will start World War III. One of his soldiers asked how. Hitler replied, the day mankind finds out what I was trying to defend this nation, Germany, from, then that's the day World War III will start. For on that day, mankind will learn that I was trying to save my nation, the Ashkenazis, Nazis, from Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Illuminati, the Illuminati. This is an exact reprint of the original text. This has been intentionally written to deceive people clearly. For clear understanding, the word Zion should be Sion. Any references to Jews should be replaced with the word Illuminati. Illuminati, Jews, Illuminati, Jews, Illuminati, Synogogue of Satan, my father Lucifer, he said. What is he saying? The Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Jews. For if the Americans wins the war, then they will conquer the world and forever be a slave to the Jews. He just called them a slave because they're going to borrow from them the Federal Reserve, Rockefeller banks, and they will try to conquer God. What did they do when they came here to the Indios, God's people? I'm coming to conquer the holy city of Mount Zion, conquer God, conquer Jerusalem. Do you know who America has in its possession? No, the soldier replied. The Americans has the jewels of God. The Americans have stolen God's precious jewels. What do you mean, his precious jewels? The soldier asked. Hitler said America has stolen the Jews of God, his jewelry, the Negroes. Hebrews, Hebrew, Hebrew. Why did Columbus bring a Hebrew interpreter, Louis Torres? Why did he bring Torres, the convert, to speak Hebrew to the great Khan, the King David, Prester John, the Negroes, the Jews of God, his jewelry, the Negroes? They are the true Hebrews, not this so-called Jew whose father is Lucifer, the Hebrews that you needed an interpreter to come to America for. The copper-colored race is found here by the European. What a foolish move and a direct challenge to God, says Hitler. And they plan on moving these false white Jews into a state of Israel. Stop. And they plan on moving these false white Jews into a state, 1947, of Israel. So Hitler says, man, if you Ashkenazis ain't trying to, if you're still trying to do this Jew thing, you're going to have to go to this false state of Israel. If you want to stay here, I'm incinerating your ass. I'm going to put you in incinerators, but I'll give you a chance. Work with these Rockefellers and go to the state of Israel and establish it. Get out of here. Either get out of here this way or you're going to get out of here this way. They said, man, well, we ain't supposed to return to the promised land until the Messiah takes us back. So we have to really stand strong with our Judaism. Isms and issues and isms. Isms and issues. So they stayed trying to be, righteous. We can't do this based on prophecy, but they're still going to act like they're you, the Negro, the Jews of God, his jewelry, the Negro, the true Hebrew. They still wanted to be the true Hebrew. So they met their fate. And I'm not cool with anybody meeting that type of fate. But this is what happened, according to the questions and the search. And they plan on moving these false white Jews into a state of Israel. America is desperate in its attempt to win this war using atom bombs on Japan, Hiroshima. America will destroy the whole world in its attempt to conquer it. Who's America? We're not talking about America that they found, copper-colored races. They're talking about those who are colonizing this place, invading America. When America and its Jewish slave masters conquer the world, and the world realize I was right, then all nations will begin a third war, world war, to dethrone America of its rule. Wait a minute. When American and Jewish slave masters conquer the world, what was Hitler trying to eliminate? These sons of Lucifer, slave masters, financing slavery, conquering the world parasitically, and the world realized I was right. Then all nations will begin a third world war to dethrone America of its rule. Is that what's on the news today? Every nation will soon possess atom bombs, weapons of war of their own. Let me get that last part. It skips quick. Every nation will soon possess atom bombs of their own. Hey, that was fast. Atom bombs of their own. One more time. Fuck, that's fast. It will be the end of most. Alright. So every nation's going to have their own damn Hiroshima bombs, and it's going to be the end of most of the world as we know it. Why will the Jews control America? The soldier asked. Hitler said, because the white Jews know that the Negroes are the real children of Israel, and to keep the America secret, the Jews will blackmail America. To keep America secret, that they invaded Hebrews. They invaded Jerusalem, Columbus said in the Biblioteca de Colombina in Sevilla, Spain, in the Book of Prophesies. De la Profecias. I'm coming to America to conquer the holy city in Mount Zion. I'm coming to America to conquer the holy city in Mount Zion. And to keep America secret, the Jews will blackmail America that they conquered Jerusalem. Hebrews, Negroes, copper-colored race found here by the European. The Jews will extort America, meaning what America will borrow, and they will be slaves to the Federal Reserve, which is not American. You don't pay taxes to American food. Their plan for world domination won't work if the Negroes knew who they were. What's happening today, and why is this true? Not because, oh, these Negroes are just gonna, go ham, go chaotic in a chaotic frequency, but because when they know who they are, they'll know that when they can't tell us who we are, they can't tell us who we're not. And if we know who we are, that energy will change the entire earth. The energy of these Hebrews knowing who they are will terraform this place. The white citizens of America will be terrified at this terraforming to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel, these Negroes. Didn't you just read about Emmett Till and his accuser finally saying that she lied? Man, did you see what they did to my man? Young man. She says, I just lied. He wasn't really trying to mess with me. And they just disfigured this poor boy, this young king. And these white people will be terrified to know that all this time they've been mistreating and discriminating and lynching the children of Israel. They will fear God will destroy them as he destroyed Egypt. Oh boy, for doing the same damn thing. So the elite, the Illuminati, the Jew, keeps this a secret at all cost. That's the blackmail. After I die, I will one day cause World War III just by this message, which will be like planting a seed, a Hebrew, Negro seed in people minds until it sprouts once they nurture that seed, and seek more truth, indigenous truth, and learn Hitler was right. I did the world a favor by killing the false Jews, sons of Lucifer, our father Lucifer, before they designated a false state of Israel, 1947, Rockefeller. But I fear I have failed. The world will fall into the hands of Satan. No, not Satan. Satan's spawn, the synagogue of Satan. Let's do our dismount. Let's go ahead and get it, man. Beautiful drop, man. Beautiful drop. Protocols of the Wise Men of Zion. Remember, any reference to Jews should be replaced by the word Illuminati, and the word Goyim should be replaced by the word cattle. Now let's get back into that treaty that we started with. I don't know what page that's on. Is this right? Man, all praise to the Creator. Look at that, man. Belly fly. Let's go. American Diplomatic Code 1778, 1884. The undersigned, specially authorized. The undersigned, specially authorized to make some additions to the Treaty of the Holy Alliance after having exchanged their respective credentials, having agreed as follows. Article 1. The high contracting parties being convinced that the system of representative government is equally as incompatible with the monarchical principles as the maxim of the sovereignty of the people with the divine right, engage mutually in the most solemn matter to use all their efforts to put an end to the system of representative government. You can't represent yourself. You can't be tribal in whatever country it may exist in Europe. But again, we're only talking about the American Diplomatic Code, and you'll see it's only a precursor of what they're doing here. And to prevent its being introduced in those countries where it is not yet known. Representative governments representing yourself. As it cannot be doubted, Article 2, that the liberty of the press is the most powerful means used by the pretended supporters of the rights of nations to the detriment of those of princes. The high contracting parties promise reciprocally to adopt all proper measures to suppress it, not only in their states, but also in the rest of Europe. Everywhere they're going to suppress, these proper measures to suppress it. Article 3. Convinced that the principles of religion contribute most powerfully to keep nations in a state of passive obedience, which they owe to their princes. The high contracting parties declare it to be their intention to sustain in their representative states those measures which the clergy may adopt with the aim of ameliorating their own interests so intimately connected with the preservation of the authority of the princes, who are they calling the princes, and the contracting power with the royal princes, and the contracting power join in offering their thanks to the Pope for what he has already done for them and solicit his constant cooperation in their views of submitting the nations. Article 4. The situation of Spain and Portugal unite unhappily all the circumstances to which this treaty has particular reference. The high contracting parties, in confiding to France the care of putting an end to them, engage to assist her in the matter which may the least compromit them with their own people and the people of France by means of a subsidy on the part of the two empires of 20 million of francs every year from the day of the signature of this treaty to the end of the war. I mean, this money's being exchanged for these secrets, this secret treaty of Verona, Article 5, in order to establish in the peninsula the order of things which existed before the revolution of Cadiz, and to ensure the entire execution of the articles of the present treaty. The high contracting parties give to each other the reciprocal assurance that as long as their views are not fulfilled, rejecting all other ideas of utility and other measures to be taken, they will address themselves with the shortest possible delay to all the authorities existing in their states and to all their agents in foreign countries with the view to establish connections tending towards the accomplishment of the objects proposed by this treaty. Article 6. This treaty shall be renewed with such changes as new circumstances may give occasion for, either at a new Congress or at the court of one of the contracting parties, as soon as the war with Spain shall be terminated. Put it together, the war with Spain. The present treaty shall be ratified and the ratifications exchanged at Peru within the space of 6 months. Now, this is made at Verona on November 22nd, 1822. So this is after the Declaration of Independence, after the 1776, after the so-called Caucasian got really into the mix. We're talking about the fall of the Moroccan Empire, colonization happening here. After 300 years plus of civil war between Moor and Moor here. One dark race against another dark race. Family against family. Treaties of peace and friendship. Mr. Owen, I have to have printed in the congressional records in this secret treaty. I asked to have printed in the congressional records of the secret treaty because I think it ought to be called now to the attention of the people of the United States and of the world. This evidence of the conflict between the rule of the few versus popular government should be emphasized on the minds of the people of the United States, on the minds of the so-called Negro. That the conflict now waging throughout the world may be more clearly understood for the so-called Negro. For after all said, the great pending war springs from the weakness and frailty of government by the few, where human error is far more profitable than the error of the many, where aggressive war is only permitted upon the authorizing vote of those whose lives are jeopardized in the trenches of modern war. Losing my voice talking to you, man. Mr. Schraffroth. Mr. President, he said, I should like to have the senators state whether in that treaty there was not a coalition formed between the powerful countries of Europe, more to reestablish the sovereignty of Spain, more in the republics of South and Central America, Morocco. Mr. Owen, I was just going to comment on that, and I was going to take but a few moments to do so because I realized the pressure of other matters. This holy alliance, having put a Bourbon prince upon the throne of France by force, then used France to suppress the constitution of Spain immediately afterwards, and by this very treaty gave her a subsidy of 20 million francs annually, to enable her to wage war upon the people of Spain and prevent their exercise of any measure of the right of self-government. The Holy Alliance immediately did the same thing in Italy by sending Austrian troops to Italy, where the people there attempted to exercise a like measure of liberal constitutional self-government, and it is not until the printing press, which the Holy Alliance so stoutly opposed, taught the people of Europe the value of liberty, that finally one country after another seized a greater and greater, more and more right of self-government, until now it may be fairly said that nearly all the nations of Europe have a very large measure of self-government. However, I wish to call the attention of the state and country to this important history in the growth of constitutional popular self-government. The Holy Alliance made its powers felt by the wholesale drastic suppression of the press in Europe, the press, the media in Europe, by universal censorship, real talk, real news, real spill, censorship, by killing free speech, and all ideas of popular rights, and by the complete suppression of the popular government. The Holy Alliance, having destroyed popular government in Spain and in Italy, had well-laid plans also to destroy popular governments in the American colonies, which had revolted from Spain and Portugal and Central and South America under the influence of the successful example of the United States colonies, Morocco. It was because of this conspiracy against the American republics by the European monarchies that the great English statesman Cain called the attention of our government to it, and our statesmen then, including Thomas Jefferson, took an active part to bring about Declaration of President Monroe in his annual message to the Congress of the United States, that the United States were regarded as an act of hostility to the government of the United States and an unfriendly act of this coalition, or if any power of Europe ever undertook to establish upon the American continent any control of the American Republic or to acquire any territorial rights. They want it all. This is the so-called Monroe Document, the threat under the secret Treaty of Verona to suppress the popular government in the American Republic in the basis of the Monroe Doctrine. In the basis of the Monroe Doctrine, this secret treaty sets forth clearly the conflict between monarchical government and the popular government and the government of the few against the government of many. It is a part in reality of developing popular sovereignty when we demand for women equal rights to life, to liberty, to the possession of property, to an equal voice in the making of the laws and administration of the laws. This demand on the part of the women is made by men, and it ought to be made by men as well as by thinking progressive women, as it will promote human liberty and human happiness. I sympathize with it, and I hope that all parties will in the national conventions give their approval to this larger measure of liberty to the better half of the human race. Authors note, anyone who believes that the monarchs, after being deposed, forgave or forgot is not playing with the full deck. Most of these families are wealthy beyond belief and may be more powerful today than when they sat upon thrones. The Moors, listen up. Today they are known collectively as the black nobility. Body bag. You don't think we're talking about Moor in Spain, Morocco? And they're following suit. They worship the Black Madonna. This is a family affair, but you're getting the drop. Today they are known collectively as the black nobility. Boule. Just because the secret Treaty of Verona was signed in 1822 does not mean that the treaty is void. It is imperative that you realize privately the black nobility. The black nobility refuses to ever recognize any government other than their heirs, own, inherited, and divine right to rule. Black nobility, Morocco, refuses to ever recognize any government other than their own inherited divine right to rule. They work diligently behind the scenes to cause conditions whereby they might reign or regain their crowns. So black nobility is behind the scenes. Man, we're only talking about the Treaty of Verona. And this black nobility refuses to ever recognize any government other than their own inherited divine right to rule. Well, yeah, sure, but which black nobility? Which more? The creator's energy or the frequency that is forming confederacies? They work diligently behind the scenes to cause conditions whereby they might regain their crowns. They believe that the United States belongs to England. Oh, goodbye, USA Corporation. Hello, New World Order. That's chapter 5. We will get there. We will get there, my people. We will get there. So this black nobility refuses to ever recognize any government, including the government that was already here when they colonized Jerusalem, other than their own inherited, Moab and divine right. They work diligently behind the scenes to cause conditions whereby they might regain their crowns. I thought we were just talking about Jewish. You see how it's all connected. They believe that the United States belongs to England. So this is the secret Treaty of Verona. It's the secret Treaty of Verona. And I love y'all, man. I mean, you know, y'all keep enjoying some piano. Y'all keep enjoying how it is. Y'all keep enjoying the real thing. You know what I'm saying? Dig on it. Remember, this is fair use in your caboose. We're only talking about the American diplomatic code, and now we see we're only talking about the same damn thing. Behold, a pale horse. Black is pale. Black is pale. And who? Our Father.
Oh, you know, our father Lucifer.
Our Father.
The number one thing. That happened. Well, you know, our father Lucifer.
Our Father Lucifer, man. So, you know, dig on it, man. You know, we're gonna make a dismount. You know, let's fall back and enjoy it, man. And yeah, we just dropped this compare 432 versus 440. Y'all go check this out, man, and let me know what you think. Halfway out the balcony, man. Some big shizan. You know what I mean? We just put it out there, man, to get that bait for them Big Sean fans to come over here and see what we dropping about. They got it in. We got it here in 432 and 440, so dig on it. Check it out. You know what I mean? The original Black Wall Street. Man, how y'all want to do this? I mean, these pyramids are heating up. These pyramids are heating up. These pyramids are literally heating up. Is Thoth returning? He did say he was going to come and whip your ass. He did say he too will come. Everybody come back. Everybody returning. These pyramids are heating up. Love to y'all. Stay up. Shoot up.
Something strange is happening in Egypt. Major heat anomalies detected inside the Giza pyramids. Welcome back, everybody, to Third Phase of Moon. This is Blake Cousins, and we're going all the way to Egypt to discover the mystery of what's happening in these pyramids. The ancient pyramids in Egypt have been standing for an estimated 4,500 years, which makes them relics of a time long past with little to no information directly passed down from that culture available today. Part of the reason for our ignorance of what made the Egyptian people so great is that the Library of Alexandria, not only the largest repository of scrolls and books available in Egypt at the time, but what was estimated to be the largest collection of written information in one place in history. Furthermore, no one really knows who burned down the Great Library. There only exist various theories.
Who burned down the library? The dude just said that they burning all the books, man.
And guesses. The most common suspect in modern teachings of history is that it was Julius Caesar himself who had started the fires. But other scholars place the blame on other figures in history, such as Edward Gibbons, a bishop to Gregory, with all the accusers themselves having problems with the accused, either personally or as a matter of religion, which makes the accusations questionable at best. Unfortunately, there is little to no chance that in the modern age we'll be able to fully unearth the details about the burning and overall loss of the Library of Alexandria. It is because of all the loss of literature that the modern-day scientists have no idea why thermal scans are showing of what appears to be a heat image from deep inside the ancient limestone structure of the Egyptian pyramids.
Wow.
As you can see in this image, there are red heat signatures coming from somewhere inside of the pyramid in the form of heating various bricks in the rows. Unfortunately, it isn't easy to gain access to inside any of these pyramids, even if it was for the pursuit of knowledge. It isn't just one pyramid either. Various pyramids are showing these strange heat signatures, including the largest known pyramid in Giza. Well, to rule out one simple solution, such as the sun heating the stones naturally in the middle of the day, or stones cooling down quicker than others during the night, thermal images scans were taken of various stones of the pyramid at 4 different times of the day. Now, researchers are operating under the assumption that the thermal images are showing what is some kind of passageway leading to a large room that is heating up. Furthermore, other heat signature anomalies are detected in the upper half of the pyramid that the experts say need to be investigated further.
I mean, what's popping in the pyramids, man? Is Thoth popping back up? Is he going back into his ships in the Hall of Amente? You know, get ready to fight the Creator or something? I mean, or is he coming back to kick everybody's ass that worships him? I mean, what's really popping? What's really heating up? It's heating up. It's turning up. Right in front of your face bone.
Well, because this is still an ongoing investigation, there are no official word on what was causing this mysterious heat, and because entering the sacred pyramids is still a hot political topic in Egypt, it may be a long time until anybody is able to personally investigate, and it'll likely be a long time until someone does.
Stay up, suit up, choose up.